We have been away for 3 months and our house and our systems need a complete reset. So the very first thing I tackled was a deep clean of the entire house. And I mean every single surface. Walls, baseboards, under the beds, in every drawer, behind the fridge, all of the nooks and crannies. It took me 3 full days, but now that I'm finally at the tail end of it, it feels amazing. And honestly, there is something really satisfying about scrubbing your house back to a fresh start. In case you missed it, or if you are new here, we just got back from an incredible adventure. We took a 3-month trip through Asia. We explored Korea, Japan, China, and Vietnam. And it was such an incredible experience. And I will be sharing more about that kind of intermixed in some extra videos of our travel soon. But after months of living out of suitcases, we walked through the door with a very different reality at home. While we were gone, we had a family renting our house, which was such a blessing to help with the bills. But that family had a shedding dog, which we have never lived with animals, and 3 young boys. So you can probably imagine what we came back to. A lot of dust, dirt, and just that overall feeling of a house that hadn't really been ours for a while. Now that the deep cleaning is kind of coming to an end, it's time to start the next step here, which is pulling all of our personal stuff out of the attic where we had it in storage and unpacking our stuff to turn it back into our home. Stuff like putting all the clothes away and all of our dishes and serveware and our toys, things that we put away when the renters were here. As I do this, one of the most important pieces is to declutter in the process. So as you go through boxes and you're cleaning out drawers or you're cleaning out your toy box, I love at my house to just keep a donation bin on hand. That way, anything you find that you just no longer really need can go into that box and gifted to somebody else who may need it. So that is definitely an important part in this home reset. I also needed to reset our fridge and pantry so that we had something to eat while we kind of got settled. And honestly, ChatGPT worked perfect for this. I did a very specific prompt, told it why we needed this, what we needed to do, and I also put in what we don't eat. So make sure you add those, and then it will go through and it will give you some ideas. It'll give you a shopping list. Not all of these were perfect, and I definitely tailored it to what we needed, but it was a great start that is so much faster than trying to do the meal plan all on your own. So especially when we have limited time to do this sort of thing, this is just such a time saver. From there, I needed to make sure that we kind of reset our family systems. I pulled out the calendar and matched it with my phone calendar because while we were traveling, anytime dates came in, I put it in my phone, but I didn't have like paper to put it on. So I plugged into my paper calendar all the important school dates, activities, sports practices, events, etc., and synced that up with my digital planner, made sure all those were shared with Dan so that we could communicate as a team there. And that's going to give me a good framework for my next step. Another thing that we need to completely reset is what our fall routine is going to look like. So I have kind of just on a scrap piece of paper here made a list of 8 to 8, and I'm going to kind of plug in the things that we constantly will do every day that kind of won't change. So for example, that is school drop-offs for me. Those are the two things that happen pretty routinely that won't change no matter what. The other thing is meal prep. So not prep in the sense of like prepping on Sunday to do the end of the whole week, but for me that means like I need to start dinner by 2 o'clock in order to have dinner done by the time I am back from school pickup before we have to leave for our extracurriculars. So for me, that's kind of like an everyday non-changeable thing. 2 o'clock is when I start prepping for that. So I mark that off. Once I have those blocks of time figured out, I start to write out all of the things that are going to need to happen on a weekly basis to make sure I kind of have everything outlined here. And then I can start filling them in here in my free spots. So here often I can see, you know, we've got practices, we've got all kinds of things going on. This is probably going to take up all this time. I probably don't have much I can do from my weekly needs that will fit here. I've got 3 hours about here and about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours here that I can try to work some of this stuff in. So that is how I kind of start going about making our fall routine. I will kind of go through this. I'll probably separate it out into A and B days. You know, maybe I want to try to fit in going to the gym or something, and so I'll maybe do that twice a week or 3 times a week or whatever it is I can fit in. So then I'll have like a routine that we do, you know, on A days, or routines that we do on B days, maybe a separate weekend routine, something like that. So that is kind of what I'm working on and trying to reset. If you don't have a fall routine or kind of have a structure of the way your day goes, I would highly recommend it. I have talked about my block schedule and planning in previous videos, so I'll try to link those in the description below, but they are so helpful to kind of get in that little routine. You know, you think of kids, how they need like routine to their day. We crave it as adults too. That's about as reset as I'm gonna get today. I still need to kind of do the going back to school reset as well, because we start school next week, which is later than most people, but I kind of like it because we have a little bit more time. So I need to get to that and tackle back to school as well as in our homeschool stuff and just everything. But we'll save that for a different day. So I will see you next time. Bye.